A bombshell revelation has just emerged from behind the palace walls. A once-dismissed secret pact between Meghan Markle and a former royal aide has now been verified. Among the leaked documents, one chilling line makes its mark. Kate was never meant to win. What was once dismissed as a conspiracy theory is now undeniable proof of a hidden agenda playing out from within, where true power isn't held by titles, but by those who master the narrative. Now, the world is left wondering, is this the truth, or just the first chapter of a media war that could alter the future of the British monarchy? What's your take on this explosive leak? If you believe Meghan is secretly pulling the strings, comment 1. But if you think it's all just another conspiracy, comment 0. Be sure to enjoy the video and hit that subscribe button to support the channel as we dive deeper into the secrets hidden behind the palace gates. The palace halls have long echoed with whispers of mystery, but now, what was once thought to be mere gossip has shattered into a startling reality. An anonymous insider, close to the royal family's internal investigation, has confirmed what many had only dared to suspect. Meghan Markle is rumored to have secretly forged an agreement with a former senior aide who had once served within the royal household. What's truly unsettling, however, is the deeply personal and even chilling nature of this arrangement. This former aide not only played a key role in palace operations and press briefings, but also carried a complex and tense history with Kate Middleton. A relationship forged in quiet rivalry and unspoken tensions, left unresolved and unaddressed. When Meghan entered the royal realm, it was as though she had found a powerful ally in this web of intrigue. At that moment, it was no longer about tradition or fairness. It was about power, influence, and domination. Leaked internal documents, from private emails to deleted messages, reveal Kate's name appearing again and again at the heart of a clandestine campaign. But one chilling line from the exposed exchange sent shockwaves through British media and social networks. Kate must never be allowed to win. A statement as sharp as a blade, not from a tabloid, but from a genuine email tied to the former royal aide who quietly left the palace 2 years ago under a cloud of lingering unanswered questions. A widely followed Twitter account, Royal Watch UK, ignited a frenzy on social media with a single tweet. This is far more serious than we thought. The Meghan-Kate clash isn't just personal. It's the start of an internal takedown plan. At first, it seemed like yet another royal conspiracy theory. But what truly stunned everyone was the timeline. The secret agreement is believed to have been made long before Meghan and Harry announced their departure from the royal family, suggesting it may have been instrumental in shaping the entire Megxit narrative from within. Palace insiders reveal that tensions between the former aide and Kate had been simmering since as early as 2015. One royal staffer from that period disclosed, "It was never official, but everyone knew she wouldn't have shed a tear if the crown never made it to Kate's head." Then came Meghan. Her unexpected entrance into the royal scene acted as the perfect catalyst, giving the aide the courage to make bolder moves. Now, a leaked WhatsApp screenshot, allegedly pulled from an old palace server, has further fueled the storm. In a leaked message exchange, a person allegedly linked to Meghan reportedly texted an aide, "Kate's image is too perfect. Something has to change." The aide's response was quick and unsettling. "Leave it to me." Though names weren't shown, the phone numbers are said to match those in use at the time. Investigators are now reviewing phone data and event timelines to verify the message's legitimacy. The public response has been intense, especially following a tweet by journalist Nadine Ellis from Neon Reports. Look closely at the internal communications leak. Meghan may not just be pushing back against the system. She might have played a role in shaping a strategy that impacted Kate from behind the scenes. This isn't just unsettling, it could completely reshape the story. What once appeared to be a personal disagreement now seems more like a strategic effort, intentional and well-orchestrated, with the media potentially used as a tool for influence and diversion. Royal aides are traditionally trusted to protect the monarchy, yet in this case, one is being linked to actions that may have weakened it from within. Even long-time royal analysts are taken aback. On a recently released podcast, Edward Collins, a royal commentator with over 25 years of experience, remarked, "If these leaks are authentic, this could represent the most significant internal breach since Princess Diana's recorded revelations." Remember the bridesmaid dress controversy that stirred public opinion? Initially, reports claimed Kate made Meghan cry, but just days later the story flipped, now saying it was Meghan who was left in tears by Kate. The public was left confused and divided. Now, a newly uncovered memo dated March 5, 2018, just weeks before the royal wedding, suggests an unnamed aide may have sent a summary of the incident between the two women to a well-connected figure in the British entertainment media. What's especially notable is that this information wasn't routed through the palace's official communications team. It was shared via a private channel. Even the email's subject line was reportedly worded to influence public sympathy in a specific direction. And here's the most unsettling part. A journalist who reportedly received that email, and is now cooperating anonymously with investigators, claimed that Meghan's team had pushed for control over how the story was framed, offering future exclusives in return. A tweet that's rapidly gaining traction added to the storm. British columnist Rachel Little of Rachel L. Political stunned the public by writing, "Someone inside the palace once handed the tabloids a playbook, and Meghan understood the weight of that." That's when public relations stopped being a buffer and became a weapon, used to shift sympathy away from Kate in the lead-up to the wedding. One excerpt from the leaked document reads clearly, "Kate's tears won't carry any weight if the public thinks she was cold beforehand." What's most unsettling is that these words weren't from a journalist. They were reportedly written by a senior aide with close connections to Meghan. According to insiders, this wasn't a simple media misstep, but rather a deliberate move as part of a broader, long-term image strategy. While Kate continued her royal duties with quiet professionalism, Meghan's inner circle was allegedly shaping a behind-the-scenes narrative, one that unfolded not as isolated comments, but as part of a carefully planned, months-long media campaign. Even former team members who worked with Harry and Meghan on the Netflix project have begun speaking out anonymously. One former production assistant revealed, "We were given versions of events that felt scripted. I used to question whether a coordination document even existed, but now I'm not so sure. If this was happening before the wedding, imagine what followed afterward." Just weeks after the ceremony, an unusual shift occurred at Kensington Palace. Several staff members reportedly resigned. According to internal sources, Meghan's aide, now suspected of links to the leaks, had repeatedly requested access to files and documents well outside the boundaries of their official role. This included internal meeting notes related to Kate's personal engagements, media plans, and even private memos outlining upcoming charity initiatives. Initially, it was brushed off as harmless curiosity. But concerns grew more serious when the aide reportedly requested access to the shared drive and even asked for information about charity tour schedules that Kate wasn't scheduled to attend. A palace IT staff member later confirmed that someone had attempted to view the full itinerary, which was flagged as the first major concern. The matter escalated when a former deputy communications director anonymously submitted evidence to the Royal Oversight Committee. According to a whistleblower, an unauthorized copy of Kate's media schedule was allegedly sent to a personal Gmail account instead of through the royal family's secure internal system or Kate's official email. A leaked message was marked confidential with a striking subject line, "Ensure news airs before Kate." In an archived post, journalist Hugo Fenton of Hugo Fenton News commented, "This is espionage disguised as PR. Someone appears to be trying to upstage Kate from within the very place she lives and works." While the palace never made any public statement about disciplinary measures, the aide in question was quietly reassigned to a less prominent role, an action that royal watchers have described as a form of internal exile. The most startling revelation? Meghan was allegedly attempting to bring that same aide back after stepping away from royal duties, suggesting the behind-the-scenes arrangement may still have been active. In early 2021, the Sussexes formally confirmed their departure from official royal roles. But soon after, something unusual began to unfold in the media. The attention that had long surrounded Kate seemed to fade. A major initiative she spearheaded on early childhood development, backed by a well-planned media rollout, was mysteriously underreported. Despite dozens of journalists confirming they had received the full briefing materials, only a handful of minor stories appeared. Now we may finally understand the reason why. A former palace communications coordinator, now working overseas, has shared internal Slack messages revealing that Meghan's former aides maintained regular contact with trusted royal reporters, even after Meghan officially stepped back from the royal household. One message instructed, "Run the Cambridge piece over the weekend. Too many Meghan rumors right now. Don't let it get diluted." Another added, "Don't let Kate take the spotlight. Mention the school but skip personal quotes. Keep it neutral." As a result, a major campaign, arguably the most important of Kate's career and years in the making, was deliberately sidelined. It wasn't that the project lacked importance. It simply wasn't Meghan's story to tell. Then, a surprising development emerged. A podcast episode from 2022, quietly removed and never officially archived, was recently re-uploaded by royal media watchdogs. In it, a guest journalist made a striking comment. Meghan's strategy wasn't just about building her own brand, it was about building it from the ashes of Kate. Meghan didn't just aim to be seen as a global symbol of grace and empathy, she sought to embody those qualities herself. But in the royal spotlight, there's rarely room for two leading ladies. On July 17, 2025, commentator Serena Hale of Royal Decoded tweeted boldly, "Kate is tirelessly running the long race of royal duty. Meanwhile, Meghan has stepped back and seems to be creating obstacles along the way." If Meghan is managing her own media efforts from outside the palace, it raises the question, who inside the inner circle is still feeding her information? That evening was meant to be quiet. William had scheduled a private strategy meeting with two trusted advisors at Kensington Palace. Kate had just returned from a school visit, in high spirits, finally receiving the media recognition she had long deserved. But at 10:15 p.m., everything took an unexpected turn. One of William's longtime, most discreet assistants noticed something unusual. A new administrative staff member, recently transferred from another department, was acting suspiciously. She lingered near the area where confidential correspondence was kept, then quietly reached for a stack of files. The cover read, Cambridge Initiatives 2024-2026, Highly Confidential Personnel Documents. There was no mistaking it. According to a source close to the royal family, the assistant chose not to confront her directly, but instead reported the incident to internal security and requested a review of the surveillance footage. What they uncovered shocked everyone. Over the course of just 3 weeks, this same staff member had entered Kate's office 6 times, always after hours and without any official reason. Each time, her phone mysteriously lost signal, prompting a tech expert to investigate. Then, an even more suspicious finding came to light. By analyzing metadata, investigators confirmed that a secure USB drive had been connected to an internal device just hours before details about Kate's education campaign were leaked to an entertainment blog in the US, a site that had never before covered the royal family. What's your take on this incident? Could the truth be hidden, or is it just a coincidence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss any updates on the latest royal secrets. We'll keep digging into these shocking stories. Remember, it's important to stay alert to information that might be twisted or fake. Especially in today's tech-driven world, events like these can easily be manipulated or misrepresented. Always double-check your sources and don't fall for misinformation. Right from the very first article, Kate's parenting style was directly attacked, and the language used closely mirrored the tone of Meghan's former PR strategist, who had worked with Sunshine Sachs. Many within the royal family no longer saw this as just a coincidence. They believed it was a deliberate leak. The mole was suspected to have ties to Meghan's former assistant and had slipped through the background check by using a third-party subcontractor. Ironically, this same company had handled the security clearances for 2 Sussex family charity events in 2022. On July 18, 2025, royal biographer Elaine Prescott ignited a media storm with a tweet on Ela Royal Truth. Someone isn't just leaking info. They're actively sabotaging Kate's projects. This isn't a simple grudge. It feels like a carefully planned conspiracy. When MI5 received the internal alert, they acted swiftly. The very next afternoon, 2 British intelligence officers arrived at Kensington Palace through a private entrance at South Garden, not for a social call, but to evaluate the threat of infiltration within the royal infrastructure. Simultaneously, a digital forensics expert from GCHQ was sent to investigate the digital footprints. From this point, the investigation took a more serious turn. The suspected assistant had been using an encrypted messaging app previously flagged for links to international interference. A phone number in her contacts was traced to an IP address that had transmitted signals just a month earlier from a residence in Montecito, California. While this wasn't the only piece of evidence, it became a critical link in the chain. Additionally, a confidential audio recording from a legal counsel meeting was leaked by someone present in the room. The recording revealed that the palace had been warned 6 months earlier about the infiltration risk posed by personnel formerly connected to Meghan's team. One of the lawyers remarked, "If this goes public, it means admitting we failed to protect the inner workings. It would also confirm that Meghan's influence is still actively working to undermine the monarchy." Meanwhile, Meghan was believed to have flown to New York to attend an emergency summit, which included 2 former Netflix executives and a senior political strategist. This move sparked speculation. Was it just a routine meeting or part of a larger long-term plan? When a reporter asked Meghan if she had any knowledge of the ongoing espionage scandal in London, she simply smiled and said, "No comment." However, later that same day, royal commentator Harriet Rowe tweeted, "Meghan knows full well that last year the palace warned her close associates to step back. Now there's been a data leak, an assistant has vanished, and Kate's project plans have been sabotaged. This isn't PR anymore, it's deliberate sabotage." What fueled even more suspicion among observers was the sudden disappearance. The female assistant at the heart of the investigation booked a one-way flight to Madrid without any warning or goodbye. When palace officials tried to summon her for questioning the following week, all contact was cut off. She had changed her phone number, email, and vanished completely from the royal radar. MI5 immediately froze all associated digital accounts and seized the last device she used. In its temporary storage, they found a deleted file with a chilling title: Kate's Messaging Strategy, Weaknesses and Linguistic Traps. The document was just 3 pages, laid out in bullet points, but it revealed a suspicious plan to manipulate language. Phrases like "relying on Kate" imply distance, detachment, and coldness, tones that feel disturbingly familiar. One striking line reads, "Relying on the fact that Kate never called me." This detail had already sparked controversy during Meghan's famous Oprah Winfrey interview. What's shocking is that this document was drafted 2 weeks before the interview even aired. So the question is, did the assistant predict the content accurately? Or was someone on Meghan's team orchestrating this in advance, sending those messages through unofficial channels? An internal memo later surfaced, quoting an anonymous palace assistant. "We've always suspected that Meghan's responses were rehearsed, but this goes beyond preparation. It's a calculated strategy, a deliberate form of media manipulation." It was no longer about spontaneous emotion. This was a psychological media campaign with a clear goal. Then came a surprising twist. A digital watermark on the document traced back to a well-known political consulting firm in Los Angeles. This firm had worked with numerous Hollywood clients on crisis management and was rumored to be behind the damage control following Meghan's Spotify scandal. If this information is accurate, then there wasn't just one plan. It could be a coordinated strategy with multiple layers of deception, designed to both defend and undermine. So how did that sensitive file end up on a palace computer? An internal source told The Times, "We thought she was there to manage the schedule, but it turned out she was tracking access data, monitoring internal communications, and syncing everything to a remote drive." Everything seemed innocent, until the truth came to light. On July 19th, Royal staff member Marianne Reeves posted a tweet that grabbed attention. "Some of us had raised concerns about this assistant months ago. Her background was unclear, and her CV had several inconsistencies. Yet somehow she landed in William's office. Was she the mastermind, or merely a pawn in a larger scheme? What truly alarmed the royal security team was the discovery of an encrypted folder on the assistant's personal drive. The folder was labeled with a single word: Ivy. That name had surfaced before as a covert alias linked to Meghan in past communications with MI6. Opening the folder required a biometric key, but the metadata showed it had been accessed just 3 days before she disappeared without a trace. Inside the IV folder was a collection of sensitive data fragments, screenshots, audio recordings, press clippings, and, most notably, a list of influential media contacts. Several of these contacts linked directly to anti-royal YouTube channels and podcasts that had been gaining traction over the past year. At the very top of the document was a chilling, bolded phrase. The real story. Kate can't be queen. At this point, the palace's internal security team reportedly escalated the situation to MI5, not just because of the digital breach, but also due to the likelihood of a carefully orchestrated conspiracy. An anonymous intelligence analyst revealed, the content in the IVI folder is not only hostile, but also highly strategic. Early assessments suggested the documents were meant to be selectively leaked to the media through influencer interviews and, notably, a draft statement crafted specifically for Harry. In that statement, Kate was depicted as cold and distant, portrayed as someone no longer aligned with Britain's modern image. As for Meghan, she was subtly framed as the only one capable of connecting with the public, a queen of hearts for a changing era. In an internal memo dated July 20th, a senior assistant wrote, "We no longer see this as an act of revenge. This is a calculated plot to rebuild the throne from the shadows. And now, everything is beginning to unravel." The unraveling sped up when another staff member uncovered a series of internal meeting minutes, including Kate's personal action plans, correspondence with charities, and a speech draft, all downloaded from William's secure storage system. The data was copied by someone suspected to be linked to Meghan's team, raising a chilling question. Had the information been leaked or manipulated in a sophisticated way? Palace advisors were forced to scrutinize every public appearance Kate had made over the past 90 days, analyzing every detail, every speech, every media article, searching for signs of distortion before it reached the public. Then, on July 20th, a shocking tweet from political writer James Archer of Politico went viral. If half of what I'm hearing is true, this isn't just crossing boundaries. This is Meghan digging a tunnel right beneath the castle. Internal sabotage, bribing assistants. This is Watergate with a crown. As for Meghan, she stayed silent. No rebuttal, no legal response, no explanation. The final piece of the puzzle surfaced from a forgotten podcast aired 5 months ago, featuring a former royal communications assistant. He joked, "If there's a spy in the palace, they won't wear a listening device. They'll carry a clipboard." Now it was no longer a joke. The palace had proof. Someone close to Meghan had indeed infiltrated the inner circle and gathered sensitive information. The biggest shock, however, didn't come from the royal family. It came from Parliament. On July 21st, Conservative MP Lydia Caraway testified before the House of Commons, stating, "I have received documents showing that a former royal assistant, acting under the direction of outside forces, used internal resources to manipulate public perception of the Princess of Wales." The entire House of Commons fell into stunned silence. Just hours later, a leaked memo from Parliament hit the press, revealing that several MPs had quietly launched an unofficial investigation into what was being called the Windsor coup. Why? Because a single email between a former Meghan staffer and an unnamed PR expert had turned everything upside down. The email, dated June 12, 2025, read, "Kate was never meant to win. She wasn't part of the plan." No recordings, no videos, just this line, and it was enough to change everything. It didn't just suggest rivalry. It confirmed that Kate never stood a chance from the very start. All the evidence uncovered pointed not only to a plan of retaliation, but also to a mission, an effort to reshape the monarchy from within. Not by working harder or earning trust, but by quietly and decisively eliminating the competition. Within hours, Buckingham Palace reportedly launched a full digital audit, reviewing all access points used by royal staff over the past 3 years. At the same time, Kate postponed 2 consecutive public appearances without any official explanation. And Meghan? Still silent. No defense. No response. But it was this silence that stirred the public even more. In the early hours of July 22nd, royal commentator Helena Ford tweeted a message that resonated widely. Meghan isn't just up against the palace, she's fighting the public's memory of Kate. A battle not fought with words or weapons, but with images, emotions, and empathy. But Helena warned there was one thing Meghan had underestimated. This country loves a woman who doesn't answer with anger, but with dignity. Kate doesn't resist, but she stands firm. It wasn't weakness, but the quiet strength of a woman in whom the nation had placed its trust. Now, the future hangs in the balance with pressing questions. Will Parliament demand an official investigation? Will the palace be compelled to make a public statement? And will Meghan finally break her silence, or continue using it as a tool of resistance? What's clear is that the once leaked line, "Kate was never meant to win," is no longer just a cold email. It's become a rallying cry for those standing with the truth. It has become a rallying flag, with the world watching quietly to see who will ultimately prevail, power or dignity. Because as this story unfolds, it's no longer just about espionage, data, or leaks. It's a battle for legacy, influence, and who truly deserves the crown of England. Which side are you on in this silent war? If you believe Kate stands for dignity, comment with a 1. If you think Meghan is the one meant to rise, comment with a 0. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to subscribe to support the channel as we continue to uncover the truth.